power here.
And it also denies Tahm Kench, right? Because Renata handshaking the fish. Yeah, Tahm Kench doesn't really like it very much. So.
I would not mind to see just Jinx Thresh here, though, for Gen G, to be honest. I think it's still very strong.
Could be an option, and I do really like the Jinx. I think that is definitely part of it. And the Tahm Kench anyway, fella hens.
Tahm Kench here feels greedy, you know, when there's a Renata on this side, but there's no Draven, there's no Callista here, right? So some of these scary picks that you're a little bit worried about getting pushed in on are off the table. And I don't think Guma's going to play like a Varus right now this game, so it really does leave you with the only option being the Aphelios. Once the Renata was locked in, you've already got the superior range here as the Jinx. You feel pretty good about this 2v2 as the Gen G side. Plus, you have this early game Poppy that can use some of that power with Jinx, Tahm Kench in the 2v2. Now, Renata should be able to stave off that better than a lot of supports we see with the Aphelios, like when Aphelios has Tahm Kench on red side, or when Aphelios has that Thresh, not going to be able to push back as easily, but Renata will definitely help.
Yeah. I think there's sort of two glaring issues on Gen G's side of the draft. It's the Gnar and it's the Tahm Kench into Renata. I don't like Tahm Kench into Renata just generally, but Tahm is very, very valuable as a 5v5 tool, right? Especially when you have Azir and Jinx as sort of your main damage dealers that do a lot of consistent damage. You can definitely see that. On T1's side, it's just range. It's just trying to get to this Jinx that's going to be so safe with the Tahm Kench that they're going to be attempting to do.
It's going to be, I think, really about Faker here, this game, about how well he plays this Swain and how well the Cannon Barrages are set up for him by Zeus. Because as you said, it's Zeus' best champion this season. He has just been so great at it. Chovy's best champion in the Azir is what we're matching up into here, which is actually so sick in terms of what the scaling aspects here. My concern for Gen G is who gets Jinx excited? You have to have a lot of control over the map to actually set up a pick here with the Poppy or the Gnar. When you're running into all the burst damage here and safety with the Renata ultimate, obviously Swain, the Wukong, and then Cannon Barrage, how does Jinx get excited consistently to do that damage? Is I think something that Gen G are going to have to solve here.
Yeah, and I think if they play to the beat of T1's drum, it will be very difficult to play out. But let's see how it goes. We hop onto the Rift. All right, and now even though Chronicler and Valdez cannot be here today, I at least can hear from them via the internet. And so Chronicler has given this one a slight draft edge to Gen G. He's saying about 60-40, but it should be close, as Peanut might interrupt me before I get to talk about Valdez and what he said, as Faker will find the Never move onto the Poppy. Peanut, just back away, my friend, because I've got things to talk about.
Yeah, and that's going to be a lot of his health bar that is eaten away, but go on.
All right, thank you very much, Peanut, there for the interruption, but that's absolutely fine. Valdez has a slightly different idea. He thinks that Renata and Swain are just kind of busted at this point in time. And as play-by-play, I feel like we are in sync on this one, because I kind of agree. And he thinks the zone control that T1 do have with Cannon Barrage and just Swain existing should give them the edge if they can get fights on their terms, even against Gen G's range advantage. So he's going to go 55-45 in favor of T1.
I like how it's very close, though, of course, because I do think that this is not... We've seen a lot of draft kingdoms this week, and a lot of them have been like really significant, so much so that we're like, oh man, do we even have to watch how this plays out? But this one is not the case, right? This is one that's going to be very much about how the drafts are played by these two teams. And they both do face challenges, as we've kind of broken down several times here. So I like how we don't have a handicap, all right? And I'm so glad that Guma didn't pick Jhin, because I was worried for a little bit that that was just randomly going to happen, because it's happened a lot here in the LCK in situations like this, because you feel trapped with the AD carry pool, kind of choked out, and obviously playing Aphelios into Jinx doesn't feel great. But it is going to feel okay enough for him this time around.
And especially with Renata. Yeah, that's the thing. It feels fine when you've got the Renata there and you're into the Tahm Kench. Because if it was sort of range support versus range support, and it was Aphelios Jinx, then yeah, maybe you're going to be able to pull it around. But this is with a Tahm Kench, so Carrier Gumayushi should be able to fight back. But as you can see, the Aphelios win rate here for Guma is actually higher than that of Ruler, even if the sample size is very different. Peanut's going to walk over a ward, though. Good vision here for T1 in the early game to deny this like extraordinarily early Poppy gank that I feel has happened all week, Wolf.
It has, and it's very strong. And guess who popularized it? It's the man on the screen right here. Also, Owner started this part of the jungle, so with his pathing here, he's not going to actually have to duel Peanut for Prio there, and Peanut's just going to go to the other side of the map where Gangplank is working. That ward, though, gives so much information to Zeus that they can actually push forward here. And Peanut's going to take the long way around as this has been a trend for the matchup, as Owner is lurking on the other side.
Yeah, as there's the Abyssal Dive, trying to get Lehens out of here. He's going to flash. Ruler holds on to his. Very importantly, but now they're going to have to both back away. Tahm Kench no flash means that a return from Owner is going to be very potent.
Yeah. And this is not going to be...
Oh, man, this wave is also pushing into T1.
So nasty for them. Peanut just left him out to dry after not having any opportunities. There was scouted on the ward, which was well placed. Pathing was great for Owner here, and he identified the Peanut left, so he comes down. Peanut also, when he's not there for the defense, alerts to Zeus, okay, he's probably towards the top side. Peanut just gives up on even going for that top side gank onto Zeus and just takes his blue buff. So isn't going to get anything for this. And yeah, the wave state here is really nasty. Look at these minions going down so far away from where Ruler and Lehens are. And they also have that ward there in the brush as well as under Tri-Brush. They can see literally everything right now. So even though it doesn't show up in the gold numbers right now, T1 feeling very comfortable about how this exchange went.
Oh, they 100% are. And the thing that's a real worry about this whole situation is the fact that they will automatically lose top. I just don't think that there is a way that Doran's going to win that matchup. So this was going to be one of their pressure points, and I think Peanut playing around bottom lane is what Gen G were kind of relying on in this game. As you can see, Peanut once again in his bottom side jungle. We'll see whether he's going to be over there for that Krug respawn and possibly makes another visit. As you can see, Ruler is actually playing with the range very nicely, as Gumiushi thought he was out of the way of that zap. I kind of agreed with him, not going to lie.
Yeah, and, you know, Peanut, he wanted to kind of cancel the plan and go topside, but he just took so long, and it was so apparent to T1. Zeus played that information out so well, and this ward is going to time out just before Peanut goes. If he goes down, of course, via the turret. If he goes next to the Tri-Brush, he'll be spotted by that other ward, which is still up for a few more seconds here.
Yeah, we'll see where Peanut is going to.
He might not even go at all, but like if he does,
yeah,
we're just showcasing what they can and cannot see, and he will be seen by this ward. So much vision here for T1.
Yeah, Peanut is just getting red this whole game.
And he's done this so many games in a row. T1 just studied his pathing on this Poppy pick when they have Prio on blue side, and they're just playing this so well. Now Owner knows he's backed because he saw him backing on the ward, but luckily there's a ward there to at least see him.
The answering vision is going to be available here. Definitely both of these teams demonstrating that they kind of know exactly where the power points are. And I think that if Gumiushi gets ahead, if Ruler gets ahead, that is going to be a huge boon for either team. Which I guess, you know, is kind of obvious. But still,
yeah, I mean,
I think this bottom lane is very, very important for the win conditions of both teams.
Absolutely. I mean, they're both late game carries here of different types, but still accelerating that means that you get a lot more power in every subsequent team fight. As Peanut will return down here and look for this Drake. They get the control vision here on the river bush. And so this is absolutely going to go the way of Gen G here. So it's still very even. You know, obviously when these minions go down here for Ruler, he's going to shore up some of the CS he lost from that wave state earlier. But, I mean, this is about as even as it gets. And it's so refreshing to see two top teams in the LCK clash like this after what has been a week of a lot of mismatches in the two twos. We've had a lot of Lucians get through draft. We've had a lot of those Poppy ganks, those pillar ganks coming through from Trundle, just literally end the games in the first 5 minutes. Not going to happen in this series. Not in my match of the week.
And we've actually got a huge day of top lane as well, with Doran finding a bit of form here as Gen G continue to win, but Zeus is by far the best top laner we have. And then Rascal and Keen are going to be playing after this. Keen having a very recent great performance. So very much looking forward to seeing how that matchup is going to go. So yeah, we're going to take a step away from some bottom side mismatches and move towards some more exciting top lane matchups instead, I guess. As Lehens moves on over towards this mid lane, Rift Herald going to be spawning in about 50 seconds.
Naturally, obviously, Azir having a little bit of prio here, but when the Tahm Kench comes up and deletes the minions with his Relic, that just guarantees the Azir can get a little bit more vision here. It's actually trying to identify if anyone is set up on this Rift Herald because they don't have vision of Owner right now. He puts a ward down, Faker does, in the pit, so knows that it is not being taken. So buying them a lot of time, and neither of these teams are really priced in with their compositions to force a fight here. Obviously, the level 6s we have on both teams are really incredible. I think it does slightly favor T1. as observers tried to give everyone a jump scare there. But
yeah, a little bit.
I think T1 with Cannon Barrage and the Wukong ultimate, there's a lot of power with Swain there, but he didn't have the prio, so they just don't pull the trigger.
Well, Gumushi's going to get sped up and going to do a fair bit of damage here to Ruler.
Also takes some himself.
Yep, Red-White Guns, though, is definitely a powerful time to go aggressive. I like that T1 utilizing that. Noon Quiver is completed here for Gumushi. Also has some brown bags. And Ruler, item parity pseudo, but also he's cashing in that cull.
Chovy.
And just going to be chilling for now as, okay, flash out from Carrier. Handshakes Lahens. And yeah, that was a handshake in agreement as there's a flash forward. The flash tongue lash from the Tahm Kench as there's the knock up onto Carrier. He's going to burn down and he's not going to get bailed out from this one. Ruler wanted to pick up the kill, but Lahens, he'll take it, and First Blood goes to Gen G. Once again, Peanut with absurd First Blood participation.
Yeah, once again. But, you know, the Herald is going to go over to T1 here. Will Guma actually get punished for being greedy here?
Yeah, that's the Vision of Empire to come through as well, just to try and deter them. But Gumushi, with so many of these chakrams, is able to 1v2 away. The Never Move doesn't connect, but it is Faker that secures his blue buff. Peanut not able to get the smite. He had to use that, I think, to keep himself alive.
And all of this is predicated on the fact that T1 waited until Chovy backed to actually start up Herald, as Owner wants to set up for a gank here into Herald drop early on. Doran does have his Narbar, but he's so far forward in the lane.
He was playing around that ward so cute, was Doran. Just making sure that the ring around the rosy was being played, trying to give away as little as possible information about what he knew. It was very, very cute.
Yeah. So T1 get Herald for First Blood going over to Tahm Kench. Still a very even game here, but Gen G winning out in terms of the exchanges on the map and all that assist gold, putting them in a pretty decent advantage. That'll, of course, be stored up by Rift Herald in a moment's time. Still a very even game here, and it's hard to really quantify who gets ahead. I would give a slight lead to Gen G in this exchange. So we're going to go back to this replay. Of course, Gumayusi not here. They know it, and they force the flash with the Chompers, and of course the first Abyssal, but it's the flash Tongue Lash follow-up here that seals the deal. And the bailout makes it so that, you know, the Tahm Kench Ignite is going to steal the kill away.
Yeah, so that does mean that Ruler unable to get there and get the last hit, but not the end of the world as Carrier just come out, throw out an E towards Ruler. And T1 remain with a lot of control here towards the bottom side. Of course, Owner's presence going to be helping out here as he realizes that there's something fishy, and it's not just Tahm Kench.
Zoner just really desperately wants to get, I mean, the T1 way is to get Herald and then, of course, instantly gank and drop it and get the gold as fast as possible. Don't waste any time trying to look for Herald opportunities, force them instead. But because of that really well-placed ward for Doran on the top side you pointed out earlier and how safe Gen G are playing bottom side right now, he just isn't finding his angle just yet.
These control wards are actually just fantastic. For Gen G right now to try and protect against this exact play. Peanut
they know it's coming.
Well,
yeah,
that he can move over this. Owner staying, thinking about a back timing, but he walks over Vision. Gumayusi going down relatively low. No flash on Carrier, remember. Zap goes wide. And Carrier looking for this one. Steadfast presence. The Vision of Empire is going to show Peanut as he walks towards this brush. And T1, they're just like, come on, guys.
Baker has Prio, or rather, Chovy has Prio, excuse me, in mid, and is going to come over here with Emperor's Divide. You've got to be careful, T1.
Yeah. Okay. Going to interrupt that one. Great handshake. That guarantees the Drake here. Carrier just taking matters into his own hands.
Chovy is going to maybe get a plate here, and the Vision of Empire tries to stop that minion from going down. He just barely will get it and get out. But that was a really well-placed ultimate there from Carrier, and T1 was so confident that with that ultimate, they should be able to kind of fight away and take the Drake. So tying us up now 1-1.
Yep. And the interruption on the Poppycopter with the hostile takeover is actually really, really strong here. And I think that Carrier will need to keep doing that if they want to actually win fights. Moonlight Vigil's going to come down. That should be able to stun up Ruler, but the Flame Chomp is in great position. Another ulti comes out as now Owner is going to get caught. The Steadfast Presence comes in. He does have Cyclone, but unfortunately, the Alcove Gaming's not working out. And in goes Chovy, manages to pick up Carrier as well, and he will go down. Peanut wants to stop this Rift Herald, and oh my goodness, the heroic charge will deny the The charge of Shelly. I guess Poppy's got a better charge than the Rift Herald.
There you go. That's just how it goes in this early game, and Guma is going to be forced away here, too. He's not going to be able to catch these minions. Peanut's coming for another pass. He's got flash up. You've got to get out of here,
Yeah,
Guma.
we've seen this one before. The Abyssal Dive comes through as Peanut is going to say that he's okay with just a flash.
And Chovy just goes straight back to lane with the teleport, doesn't care, doesn't lose anything for this commitment over. Faker with Unsealed Spellbook could not actually match rotation. He switched it to teleport after the fight happened. He was waiting in base for that, timing, the channel time on the switch of the Unsealed Spellbook, then just teleports back to lane where Chovy already is. So yeah. Chovy loses nothing for this rotation, and it's just a really well-timed gank here. And roam from Chovy there, so well set up from Peanut, gets the double knock-up, and they just expected this so hard.
No, it was really beautifully done. Also utilizing the fact that when you interrupt Poppy's ultimate, she gets refunded some of the cooldown. So because he still had it, because Hostile Takeover interrupted it instead of him actually whiffing it or using it, it does mean that he gets to come over and do exactly this.
Yeah, it's a fantastic point you raised. Chomper placement forces a flash here out of Keria, but they're so far deep here that the Rift Herald gets knocked back. Now Owner is isolated, and look at how far down Chovy is. Faker gave up on the rotation. He backed, right? He's looking to get full health and get that teleport back, but he's still in animation on that rotation of his Unsealed Spellbook. You can see it there on the bottom of your screen. So Faker can't be here. It's not a winning fight. They push the Rift Herald away, deny it. And this is a fantastic swing of gold to Gen G, and so much farm denied from Guma.
Yeah, you can see Ruler just happily chilling out here. Vision of Empire. It does mean that Ruler takes a turret shot. Nicely done there by Faker, but this turret's not going to be long for the world. And Ruler will be able to do some of the Tristana tactics, right? You move your Jinx around and pick up as many of these structures as possible and really start this snowball moving. It's the classic Jinx Azir early game strat, as Doran does have Mega available, but Zeus has Owner available, which I'd say is a little bit stronger. Doran just going to tidy the wave there with his ultimate.
They want to force it back there to trade, potentially a Herald and turret for this bottom push.
Ooh, that was a bit of a preemptive devour there from Lehens, but it still will guarantee. Oh, never mind.
And they're still going to do
be
a ton
Cannon
of
Barrage. They are definitely going to do a ton of damage. The minions are definitely gone, though, as, Lehens is going to survive. Never mind.
And at the top side of the map, it's a Herald taken here for T1, but they weren't able to turn that into turret and Herald, which is what the gank attempt for Owner was looking for.
Goodness.
Chovy he's doing a lot. He's got 3 stacks.
Yeah. Red, white, don't fight, but maybe don't fight Chovy, who is just, taking a lot of control here. Peanut thinks that it might be his opportunity, but Keria can just say no.
And this is another reason why Jinx and Azir, which has been a Gen G staple forever of all rosters for them, even when it was BDD and not Chovy, Ruler playing this Jinx with the Azir, regardless of mid laner, is so strong into Aphelios in neutral fights like this because the Aphelios is also outranged by good Sand Soldier placement from the Azir, and so Guma gets chunked down so easily when Chovy has these angles. And they were trying to maybe find that top turret. Were denied, of course, by good positioning from Doran and that Narbar. They get the Herald, try to find a pick mid there, and then just Chovy doesn't even flash. He actually wins the trade there, basically by himself, while there are 3 members of Gen G on the bottom side. Gen G are out-macroing T1 right now, which is something we very rarely say those words out loud.
And this was after, I think the early game went very well for T1. Like, they read Peanut like a book. They knew once again exactly where he was going to be, but we're going to see another fight here. Owner, that's not the real one. So the monkey's going to be absolutely fine, but the first Infernal Drake is on everyone's mind right now. Gen G with full control of the area, though, and there's no way T1 can even fight for this.
Zeus has no teleport, so
no ulti either.
He stayed down here because he thought maybe they're going to need my damage if we're going to contest. Because like you said, if he has no ult and no teleport, he can't be on the top side, so there's no cross map available here. So, yeah, Gnar just gets to go bottom and take that farm. And Zeus will push topside here, but it's going to be answered by Chovy. T1 are not able to make any cross-map play here. They just lose a Drake for free, essentially. Really unfortunate here for the squad. This game is not over by any means, even though it is a massive lead for Gen G here. But T1 are going to somehow have to win a miraculous fight or set up some really awesome vision here on these next objectives if they're going to have any hope. Because otherwise, they're just starting to really fall behind. And when you're behind the pace of this Azir Jinx into a very low-range Swain Aphelios comp, you're going to have a lot of problems if you don't have the setup first on team fights. If Zeus doesn't have a barrel chain ready for you when you walk in.
And also, I mean, we saw what Faker was capable of doing against closers Azir. He really did make him look silly. The domination that T1 had in that game was very impressive, but I think this might be a different story. And we'll have to see whether Faker can land a few of these flashes over these Emperor's Divides.
Yeah, that's
Chovy going to be trying to put out.
Because, like, Faker hasn't actually had the opportunity to be relevant this game. He hasn't been able to be in fights because Chovy's Azir naturally gets you prio in this matchup, and I'd say most Azir players will be able to get you a little bit of that. But Chovy's decision-making, his rotations have been crisp, and Faker just hasn't been able to get any of that early-game Swain power that you have with Cannon Barrage. And because the focus has been bottom side so much here for Gen G, and Chovy got that early kill, didn't lose anything for it, Faker's just kind of been behind the curve this game, and he will have that opportunity to shine in later teamfights. Does have his stopwatch for the next one potentially here, but so far he just hasn't been able to actually use this Swain just yet. So let's not judge it before it actually happens, but he might not get a chance still if this map is just continually under Gen G's control.
Well, if you out-tempo a Swain, it's actually really hard for him to find his way back in. However, teleport's going to come through. Shirley looking for a charge, and she will get one this time. Ulti comes through from Peanut just to deny the 5v5, but it's just Gumayusi, and he is going to run his way back. Doran throwing around some boomerangs and avoiding quite a bit of what Faker was throwing out here. Nicely done. Lightning Hands not quite working out.
I mean, even the Gnar creates somewhat of a range problem here for T1.
Ooh, Moonlight Vigil goes wide. Shifting Sand's going to be used there from Chovy, means that he can't use it anytime soon. However, this tower still goes down and Ruler gets excited. Keria taking a lot of damage. Good utilization of the package there from Ruler, understanding that he can just sidestep basically everything when he has so much movement speed.
I mean, the T1 are getting T1'd by Gen G. This is just Gen G being as oppressive as T1 was all spring season when they were on that perfect season tear, 18-0. Yeah, the siege is incredible. Keria has to ult defensively here to try to turn this around, but there's a Sundisk turret here.
Peanut really didn't want to flash there. He was like, Lehens, devour me. And Lehens was like, just flash, man. I need this devour for Ruler.
It's true.
At least that's what I assume is what happened, because I think you can devour over that wall.
There is a 2-item Jinx here and Azir who's not going mass build this game because of the state of how much range they have and how ahead they are. If you're behind, you 100% wish you have a mask as Azir in this case versus the Swain that's so difficult to kill. But when you're dictating the pace of the game, the Ludens here is so smart, grabs himself the start of a Morellonomicon to deny some of that healing from Gumayusi in these team fights.
Yep.
And well, it actually finishes the Morellonomicon and picks up a needlessly large rod because he has so much money.
Well, I mean, Gen G just have so much money. Yeah. Like, out of nowhere, it's like a 6.5k gold lead. Like, they've taken 4 turrets. And that's where all of this money is, right? Like, the inner turret going down in the bottom lane is actually just huge as Keria is here for a counter gank opportunity. But, I mean, this is nutty. I can't believe we just looked at the top of the screen and then all of a sudden, Gen G are making all of that bank.
They had about a 4,000 to 5,000 gold lead after that bottom side play from Chovy, and then they just turned it into oppressive map control everywhere, as Lehen's just going to use this to take the shield away. But I was going to mention, with all the items that Gen G have, at 21 minutes, they can do Baron very quickly. I think they're probably still waiting on Ruler's 3rd item before they try to do any sneaks or anything like that. But that's the one last step for Gen G to be full-form T1 from Spring with the lead they have, is to actually sneak a Baron. That's the one thing they haven't done yet, but I think they're still trying to play it safe. Look at the line of wards they have across the river. There's nothing that T1 could do. There's no flank angle. Not that they have anything outside of a Wukong who could really flank. But their options are so choked out. They're so limited. Gen G are really putting the noose around T1 here, and they're ready to kick the chair out from under them in this next fight. 5 seconds to Infernal. They have full control of that zone.
Yep, Infernal Soul going to be well and truly on the table here. That's going to immediately be taken. Lehens rotating over as there is a turret taken. Bounties are available. Faker completes his Rylai's Crystal Scepter, so that is Imperial Mandate value well and truly online, but it's just whether or not they're going to be able to utilize it, right? Because range advantages are so much more pronounced when you're ahead. And Nevermove will connect, but they still can't get to Ruler.
Yeah, and every time this Ludens procs on Gumayusi, T1 fans shed a tear because it just means that he has to back away. In this case, it's just going to fully back because he had no mana. It does pick up his Lord Dominic, so we were very close to Ruler actually getting a 2-item advantage against one of the most famous AD carries of all time, or of recent times, I should say, in Guma.
Yep.
Still hasn't picked up his world title yet, but This turret is not long for this world. Cannon Barrage committed here. Defensively, it doesn't save the turret. There is no turn, and T1 are just so desperate for anything.
Yeah, and Ruler can still stand forward because that Devour is still available. The Hens even has Flash if he needs to get over there in the nick of time, as Ruler is looking like an assassin with his positioning right now. Wants a Bramble back. Should be able to take it, and Never Move not going to connect there. So the Jinx should just be able to move over to this inner turret as well. And this snowball is just rolling so quickly down the hill. Gen G are just not giving T1 any options, and this is not a game where, like, Zeus is sitting in side lanes. He was able to get that top outer turret, you know, but that is the only turret T1 have managed to get this game.
Yeah.
And Doran has been able to keep him relatively down.
And I think a lot of people will look at this, the game state here, the gold advantage is, I don't know if I'm going to have enough time to talk about this, as Zeus is looking for the flank here.
Yeah, there's the Flash hostile takeover, but Peanut just runs really fast. Ruler does have Flash, is now Chovy looking for Faker. Emperor's Divide is going to get rid of the demonically ascended Swain. And now Chovy's running for the hills because there is an angry pirate moving up towards the pigeon, but Peanut is there. Vision of Empire going to spot Chovy, but not going to land the damage.
That was one of the craziest attempts to flank we have seen in a while, and it was a really cool idea. If you get that carrier ult to pop off, Zeus gets around the edge there with a barrel chain, maybe you can actually find this one place where you can punish Gen G, and they almost pulled it off. Then they were like, all right, this works twofold because then we collapse on top of the Azir, but Chovy was too safe, pushes Faker away, commits his ultimate, knows that he has just enough time to escape there, and even turretless on the top side, he will get out. But what I was going to say before this flank attempt was, I think people might incorrectly identify this game as, well, T1 just don't know what to do when they're behind. They're so very rarely in a position where they're the ones with one turret versus 6. But I think it's more about Gen G playing an oppressive game here. Look at the item difference here we were talking about earlier. Almost a 2-item spike advantage here for Ruler. He gets Infinity Edge just as the Lord Dominix is completed.
And also he has the Kraken Slayer as well. Like, it's so much raw damage that this Jinx has available just because Tahm Kench affords you that, right? Because you have basically double cleanse, and the cleanse that Tahm Kench has with his ultimate is even better than the original because it gives you that gigantic shield of destiny. Zeus gonna get zapped. Ona over the wall.
Aurelius down.
Yeah, Ruler is very close to the Ruler position right now. This is dangerous for any Gen G fans. I could feel the blood pressure increase in this room.
Owner's just hoping for a Cyclone angle that he's just not going to get. 2 control wards committed. That's 150 gold to try to hope for a prayer, a dream here. Ruler, again, getting dangerously close just for a moment, but Gen G are very well aware of what T1 is trying to set up, and as a result, just playing very carefully around it. Even though Ruler has scared us for moments there, he's been very well far enough away.
No, absolutely. We're waiting a minute. I think Gen G not going to flip any Barons. I would not recommend that. As Peanut throwing a buckler around. I'm nervous even about that, you know? The Blacksmith Poppy. Like, he's such a hipster, isn't he? Is like Lollipoppy or like, is this Blacksmith Poppy?
I don't know, it's Red Poppy, that's what I call her.
Yeah, this is the other one. Never mind. But it's another old Poppy skin.
I do want to point out that T1 have incredible pick potential here with all the CC they have and the Renata ults. If somebody makes a mistake, even the Poppy will not be safe. Like, T1 are really hoping for that error, that unforced error. If there's just one small mistake, maybe there's a window back in, and that's what they're hoping for so desperately and setting up vision for, but hasn't happened yet. His owner is once again trying to find any angle. Is Ruler going to greedily come up here to help?
Oh, it's Ragdoll Poppy.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, Poppy's, like, she's had like 4 million skins, I think, is the approximate amount of skins that she had quite early as Super Mega Death Rocket, just to make Gumayusi feel nervous about standing close to this minion wave. Yeah, but it's not actually going to eventuate in too much.
Both the Ludens and the Ludens procs, we've seen Chovy proc on him so many times, and the Rocket are just starting to be a big problem. It's almost like we have a Ziggs here and a Jinx in one.
Doran. That's a little bit frightening.
He's got Narbar, and T1 don't have vision, so he can hold this choke.
Yeah, and Flame Trumpers are also pretty dang good at that, as there's the Flash Gnar from Doran just buying space. They pick up the Infernal Soul, and he's going to get Handshake back. So that's a dead Gnar. First kill goes over to T1. And now Gen G are just trying to get out of there. Chovy, oh my god, the Sand Soldier damage is pretty nutty. He's got a Shadow Flame completed as well.
A little bit of a disconnect here, though, frankly, for Gen G.
Oh, man. Are they just going to walk over to the Baron and take it?
Looks
and then
like
Chovy's going to deny anyone doing anything? Because look at this burst damage. It's insane.
Shadow Flame getting so much value here as Gen G will just take this Baron.
This gatekeeper is here.
Yeah.
He sets up the Sand Soldiers in front of the Baron and says, you're not allowed to come in here. And now he's looking for Goom. Usually, like, what is this conquering Sands damage?
He has Flash, too. Like, he almost could have just solo killed as the fans are going nuts here on the Gen G side of the arena as the Baron is taken. I think the one thing we criticize is Doran didn't need to flash forward there. I think there's a bit of a disconnect there between him and the rest of the team because he's hoping for a Jinx reset here as they get this Infernal Soul. And look, the Chompers are well placed. He's got such a long Narbar and has Lehens near him, so he feels pretty safe in this scenario. But like I said, there's so much CC here for T1. Don't want to be going that far forward, but he helps guarantee.
No, I love the play from Doran. I actually love it. Like, he knew that he was going to die, and by the space. That's fantastic. Let's see whether Doran can win this 1v1 as well, as Nevermove is going to go slightly wide. Doran chasing after Faker. He would have liked to stay in mini form, I think, as he would have been able to keep chasing. But now T1 have found the Gnar yet again, and I think he's just definitely dead this time. Faker kiting really beautifully here. And does have the stopwatch and mistimed Gnar.
This is a win for Gen G, though.
Goes wide.
Gen G's getting an inhibitor. They're like, yeah, cool, broke your stopwatch, you killed an R. I don't care at all, even slightly. I've got a prop.
Is that why you pick Gnar, Wolf? You pick Gnar so we can just be bait all game? Is that the plan?
I mean, that's how Doran's playing it here, and it's working out. He's made 2 great sacrifices now to get Gen G the lead further.
My God, that crit onto Ona was obscene. And they, so it is Gnar for, okay, Ruler's getting excited. Zeus gonna have to run. Ruler now taking a lot of damage, though Moonlight Vigil goes wide because the Devour was there from Lehens. Faker now trying to frontline. Ruler's gonna have to flash to get out of the cannon barrage. But Carrier is chasing him down with a hostile takeover, who just barely is out of range as Gen G are gonna be bullied out as somehow Azir kills Guma. I'm not sure how Chovy did that, but he did it. He has so much damage, and he's still inside the base. Faker goes golden, but the bailout is not going to be there for Carrier, and eventually the Swain will die, and Zeus finds himself outside of his base. These Sand Soldiers, the amount of damage that Chovy has done, he just stood his ground.
If Zeus could have bought time for a Cyclone, there's a chance here. He's level 16, but it's just going to be so difficult. Owner Cyclone coming up soon.
Yeah, and Peanut is fighting against Zeus here, and it's once again just buy time so that we can take down these Nexus turrets. There's that Cyclone that you were talking about, but Ona is just immediately destroyed. Chovy's damage is just way too high this game, Wolf. It's just insane. Nexus is going to go down, and Gen G will take game 1 against T1.
Very aggressive lead for Gen G, a snowball that comes with oppressive vision control and Chovy's non-stop pokes onto the enemy Aphelios, who was zoned out of CS by a successful dive bottom side that was also set up by Chovy's mid lane prio on the Azir. And the Swain pick was not a bad one by any means, but against Chovy's Azir, Faker didn't have any agency.